Dineros, present. What about Miss Maria Fe Francisco? May we suspend the session for a few minutes? The hearing has resumed. We would like to acknowledge the presence of the Vice Chairman of the Commission Appointments, the Honorable Zamora, and the Acting Majority Floor Leader, the Honorable Tolentino. May we request the Majority Floor Leader to make his report.
Mr. Chairman, Your Honors, this committee has again resolved to suspend deliberation of Secretary Ubial's ad interim appointment on October 3, 2017 meeting due to lack of time. After hearing the remaining manifestation and grounds for their objections, all oppositors, Representative Harry Roque, Attorney Mendoza, and Dr. Potenciano Malvar were excused from attending today's hearing by the Chair. In compliance with the directive of some of the committee members, Secretary Ubial submitted the following documents, namely, number 1, an authorized deed of undertaking or commitment to vacate the Treatment and Rehabilitation Center in Tagaytay by the end of 2018. Second, Senator Soto, breakdown of the other infectious disease budget line item and the statement of allotment, obligations and balances for calendar years of 2016 and 2017, updated report on the official foreign international travels for the period July 1, 2016 to present, including list of companions and funding source with approved travel authority, composition of DOH SEC TD Selection Education Committee, output of DOH travel to Cuba, cabinet presentation on Cuban health system and key recommendations, second, Cuban Clinic model adaptation in Surigao del Norte. Third, from Representative Almario and Dalsos, list of local government units violating the trust fund capitation of PhilHealth. And fourth, from Representative Dalsos, DOH official position on the proposed Medical Cannabis Act. Secretary Ubial also submitted a reply to the position paper of former DOH Secretary Dr. Janet Garin. Meanwhile, Representative Roque submitted additional documents citing the various inconsistent statements of Secretary Ubial. Likewise, Dr. Malvar submitted additional documents reiterating his opposition. Mr. Chairman, late afternoon yesterday, the Secretariat received a sworn opposition from Dr. Eldigardes Dineros of PhilHealth. Also around 7:21 p.m., Miss Maria Francisco submitted a sworn opposition to the ad interim appointment of Secretary Ubial. All of the above-mentioned documents were properly disseminated by the Secretariat to the committee members. Finally, Mr. Chairman, Senator Soto has only suspended his queries to Secretary Ubial while the following members made reservation to propound questions to Secretary Ubial in this order: Senator Pacquiao, Representative Sato, and Representative Ocampo. The opposition have been duly notified of today's meeting. They are present for today's meeting. That's all, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors. Thank you very much.
Thank you to the Majority Leader. Before we proceed, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Soto, Majority Floor Leader of the Senate, the Honorable Cortuna, the Honorable Sato, the Honorable Loyola, and the Honorable Gatchalian. We will now proceed to the administration of the oath to the new oppositors, Dr. Hildegarde C. Dineros and Ms. Maria Fe R. Francisco. Is Dr. Dineros present? Secretary Villacorta, please administer the oath to the oppositor.
Kindly raise your right hand. Dr. Dineros, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding, so help you God? Yes. Mr. Chairman, the oppositor is now under oath.
Before we proceed, the Chair would like to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Pacquiao. We will proceed in this sequence. We will allow the new oppositor, Dr. Dineros, to make his presentation. A reminder to Dr. Dineros, please make your presentation, which I suppose is backed up by a written submission, as clear, as complete, as concise as possible. Second, just a caution. We will not allow this hearing to be a forum for personality attacks, so deal with the issues only. So, with the permission of the members of the committee, can we request Dr. Dineros to make his presentation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the honorable members of the Commission on Appointments. Good morning, everyone. And I am Dr. Hildegarde C. Dineros. I am here to just present to you just a clarification of the previous presentations. I'm referring to the last October 3, 2007 hearing, wherein my name was mentioned as stated that being elected as PhilHealth interim PCO at that time, and that I was not ousted, but I resigned from my post. And I presented to the honorable body, as you see it in the copies that you have, everything that is stated there pertains to the actual events that happened. If I may read, Mr. Chairman.
Please proceed, Dr. Dineros.
Yes, thank you very much. During the first hearing on the ad interim appointment of Secretary Ubial, the undersigned constrained himself to speak out and correct the wrong information she was peddling before the Commission on Appointments. However, last 3 October 2017, she again lied, convincing me to send this letter to write the wrong information being put on the record. Secretary Ubial repeatedly claimed that I was not ousted, but in fact resigned as acting PhilHealth President and CEO. She lied. I did not resign, but was ousted upon the instigation of the chairman of the board, Dr. Ubial. When I was nominated and voted upon by my fellow PhilHealth directors as acting PCEO, I took it as a challenge to institute wide-ranging and necessary reforms of the agency. No sooner than had I assumed my position, however, when Secretary Ubial began to assert her personal agenda. Even in my capacities as acting PCEO and Vice Chairman of the PhilHealth Board, I had extreme difficulty in securing copies of minutes of board meetings and PhilHealth board resolutions from our corporate secretary, an appointee and trusted staff of Secretary Ubial, who allegedly happens to concurrently represent the NGO Health Justice at the same time. Having been able to secure copies of PBRs from other sources, I saw batches of falsities. There was an unnumbered PBR allegedly resolved and signed last 3 April 2007, which authorized and empowered Sec Ubial to virtually act as PCEO, despite the fact that I had been nominated and elected by the board last 7 March 2017, and as such, I had been discharging the functions of said office. In so doing, Secretary Ubial machinated and illegally encroached on the powers, duties, and functions of the duly elected and functioning PCEO, not to mention that it directly contravened GCG Memorandum Circular number 2012-09, third issue, dated 8 September 2014, item 2, number 4.1, of which expressly provides that the CEO should not be the chairman unless provided in the charter or the AOI or bylaws. More emphatically, Part 8.2 of the same GCG circular provides that the Commission encourages the GOCCs to adopt a policy of electing different individuals as chairman and CEO to provide a structure of checks and balances between the board and management. Thus, the evil being sought to be prevented by the above cited clear and squarely applicable provisions of GCG circular number 2012-09 already exists, since the unnumbered PBR had been implemented through Sec Ubial's memorandum dated 30 March 2017 and CPO number 2017-05 dated 03 April 2017. Based on existing laws, rules, and regulation on GOCCs, however, the only instance when an ex officio chairperson may be allowed to assume the powers, duties, and functions of a CEO is specified in 9.3 of the same circular. In the event of vacancy brought about by the CEO's resignation, death, or legal incapacity, which exigencies, to reiterate, are not present, since there was last 07 March 2017 a duly nominated, elected, and functioning CEO. PhilHealth's Manual of Corporate Governance enumerates in 4.10.1 thereof the specific duties and functions of the ex officio chairperson, and it is quite clear therein that assuming the powers, duties, and functions of a PCEO is not one of said duties and functions. Neither does PhilHealth's charter, as amended, authorize the ex officio chairperson to assume the powers, duties, and functions of a PCEO. Even in a private corporation law, the merger in one and the same person of the dual roles of chairman and CEO is prescribed. The SEC Memorandum Circular number 6, series of 2009, or the Revised Code of Corporate Governance, provides in Article 3 thereof that the roles of chair and CEO should, as much as practicable, be separate to foster an appropriate balance of power, increased accountability, and better capacity for independent decision-making by the board. A clear delineation of functions should be made between the chair and CEO. If the positions of chair and CEO are unified, the proper checks and balances should be laid down to ensure the board gets the benefit of independent views and perspectives. More to the point, Secretary Ubial issued a memorandum dated 30 March 2017 and CPO number 2017-05 dated 03 April 2017, which involved the reassignment of personnel. Said interference is prohibited by law as interpreted in squarely applicable jurisprudence. in Beja versus CA et al., decided by the Supreme Court, GR number 97149 Anbank, last 31 March 1992, the High Tribunal ruled an attached agency should be free from departmental interference with respect to appointments and other personal actions in accordance with the decentralization of personal functions under the Administrative Code of 1987. Moreover, the Administrative Code explicitly provides that Chapter 8 of Book 4 on supervision and control shall not apply to chartered institutions attached to a department. PBR number 2220, series of 2017, was allegedly resolved and signed last 16 February 2017, which provides that a fact-finding investigation be undertaken on the irregularities relating to PBRs and directives. Pursuant thereto, Secretary Ubial issued DOH Department DPO number 2017-0811 last 17 February 2017, creating a 7-member all DOH body to inquire into alleged issues, which, however, were not specified in said DPO. PhilHealth is a chartered GOCC, meaning it was created by law and functions independently through its board insofar as policy
Dr. Dineros,
and management.
before you continue,
Yes.
how many minutes more?
Another 2 minutes, sir.
2 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, please proceed.
As regards to my alleged, PhilHealth is not under the administrative control of supervision of the DOH. As regards to my alleged resignation, for the record, my replacement, Dr. De La Serna, perhaps out of guilt or conscience, went to my office in the morning of that fateful day when I was forcibly ousted and informed me that the day before, she and the rest of the board were personally called by Sec Ubial that she would remove me as PCEO because I was difficult to deal with and was not following orders. Clearly, this was because of my refusal to be controlled and dictated to follow illegal orders, as well as support their special projects and nominees to positions at the agency. The minutes of that board meeting will confirm the fact that it was Secretary Ubial who vigorously insisted, 5 times no less, that my position be declared vacant. Thus, how could I have voluntarily resigned if Secretary Ubial plotted the night before, ordered the PhilHealth board members to go along behind my back, and actually carried out her ouster plan the day after? There are many other internal and external problems of PhilHealth that calls for a chairman of the board who understands the basics of health financing, or at least show the willingness to learn, listen, and work collectively with PhilHealth and all stakeholders rather than instigate division within the institution. Your Honors, I would have opted to remain silent and let things pass. Anyway, the impact of Secretary Ubial's poor management, persistent and habitual lying, and absence of direction in the health sector will not affect my private practice. However, my oath as a doctor pushes me to take cognizance of a health leader, the highest at that, who does not blink an eye whenever she lies. While lying is bad, it is worse when made a habit by a health leader because lies committed in the context of public health and health financing can cost lives. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Your Honors.
Thank you, Dr. Dineros. Is Ms. Francisco already here? We have information that she is in the lobby already. But Dr. Dineros, before we proceed, just as a matter of information, how is the PhilHealth President and CEO chosen?
The manner that is chosen right now, Mr. Chairman, is the President and CEO of PhilHealth is elected from the board members, from the directors of the board. And the board of directors that are appointed.
Okay, this may be redundant, but how is an interim President and CEO chosen?
through an election, Mr. Chairman, and interim at that because to be permanent, the interim president and CEO needs to be confirmed by our president of the Philippines.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Soto is recognized.
can we have it double checked? Because the way I read it in the law, creating PhilHealth, and I remember this distinctly being sponsored by Senator Freddie Webb in the 9th Congress. It's the President that appoints, hindi confirms. It's the President, in the law, I believe, so you can have it checked again. It's the President who appoints, not the board.
Thank you, Senator Soto. The chair takes note, and we will check to confirm the process. Is Ms. Francisco present already? Secretary Villacorta, can you please, Ms. Francisco, the Secretary of the Commission will administer the oath to you.
Kindly raise your right hand, ma'am. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Chairman, the oppositor is now under oath.
Ms. Francisco, you have a sworn opposition.
Yes, Your Honor.
So we are giving you now a chance.
Yes, sir. We submitted the opposition last night,
Yes.
the commission appointment.
In fact, we will ask you now to make your presentation, but just a gentle reminder that just make your presentation. Anyway, it's backed up by a written submission.
Yes, sir.
Let's make it as clear, as brief,
Yes, Your Honor.
as concise as possible. And a second reminder is we do not want the hearings to be a forum for personality attacks. No? So just deal with the issues.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you ready to make your presentation?
I'm ready, Your Honor.
Okay, please.
Mr. Chairman, a
Yes,
moment.
by the way, before I recognize the Honorable Ocampo, we would like to recognize the presence of the Honorable Peñas, the Honorable Ocampo, and the Honorable Halosos. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I remember that we had a ruling that if there's an opposition, it has to be endorsed by one of the members. If the opposition was only submitted last night, then why are we hearing the opposition?
The information we have, ma'am, is it was a proposal. Not
Okay,
yet.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Ocampo. Ms. Francisco, please proceed.
Your Honors, I'm here in behalf of the employees of PhilHealth who have affixed their signature in this manifestation. We hereby manifest our strong opposition to the confirmation of Dr. Paulyn Ubial as Secretary of Health, PhilHealth, as Secretary of Health on the following grounds. She exercised grave abuse of power and usurpation of authority. She violated rule on non-diminution of salaries and benefits, violation of PhilHealth employees' right to due process and equal protection which is protected under the Bill of Rights. She committed alleged violation of Section 27D of RA 10606. Management, which was tolerated by the board, collected onerous agency fees from casual employees.
Mr. Chairman.
Vice Chairman, is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, before we go any further, since the oppositor says that she's an employee of PhilHealth and that she represents a number of employees of PhilHealth, may we know just a number of things. How many employees are there in PhilHealth and how many does she represent of them in this opposition?
Your Honor, there are 6,236 employees, both regular and casual employees. And I have submitted here about 150 signatures The rest of the signatures are still coming in from the regions. We can submit it later, Your
Yes,
Honor.
but right now we are talking about 150 or so.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
150 principled signatures, principled and brave signatures of employees.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, if I may interject.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you're just representing 150 out of 6,200 employees. So that doesn't mean that you represent the whole PhilHealth employees.
Oh, that's right, sir. But as I said, sir, the more signatures are coming in, and they have signified also their.
Well,
that
Mr.
they
Chair, that's
share
not
the same
valid if
sentiment.
she doesn't bring any document proving that he's representing the whole or majority, at the least, Mr. Chair, of the employees. So she cannot declare that she's representing the whole or most of the employees of PhilHealth.
Your Honors, can at least assuming that there are only 150 signatures here, can at least the 150 employees be heard in this hearing, Your Honor?
Mr. Chair, kina-clarify lang ho natin yung statement nyo, Ma'am Francisco,
Yes, sir.
na you're representing the, we're not questioning your, obviously this is the forum to listen to all oppositors, but we're just clarifying your statement that you're representing the Employees Association or the Employees Organization of PhilHealth. So you cannot use that statement.
Yes, sir. No, I'm not representing the union, Your Honor.
So what are you
the
representing a while
employees-
ago that you mentioned?
I'm representing the employees who signified through this manifestation the opposition and the confirmation of Secretary Ubial.
Thank you, Congressman Gatchalian. Ms. Francisco, related to the previous two questions, how many employees associations are there in PhilHealth?
There's only one.
There's only one.
Yes, sir. The accredited.
That includes the union.
Yes,
Well,
sir. There's only one union.
Anyway, before we proceed, the chair will make this ruling unless the members will decide to put it to a vote. In the spirit of due process, we would like to hear Ms. Francisco, and we make a collective and individual evaluation of what she has presented. That is approved. Okay with the members. Okay, so Ms. Francisco, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honors. She's anti-labor, anti-worker. There are board decisions which are detrimental, which have detrimental impact on the corporation. There were unmanaged political bickerings among the PhilHealth Board of Directors, which affected the implementation of the program. And the board violated Executive Order Number 36, 2017. For a grave abuse of power and usurpation of authority, she has been signing corporate personal orders, procurement contracts, and posting of vacant positions in the executive and managerial positions. Your Honors, in the PhilHealth Manual of Corporate Governance, the functions of the chairperson and the office of the president and CEO is clearly distinguished. The board violated the rule on non-diminution of salaries and benefits, violation of PhilHealth employees' right to due process and equal protection, which is protected under the law. On August 2016, the 2016 board, led by Secretary Ubial, approved the implementation of the third and fourth tranches of the Salary Standardization Law 3, which was approved by the PhilHealth Board of Directors in 2009. The Board of Directors in 2009 approved 4 tranches of salary increases. But on March 8, 2017, the 2017 board, again led by Secretary Ubial, arbitrarily suspended the benefits, allowances, and salary adjustment due to a COA disallowance. This act, the arbitrary suspension, this act deprived the 6,236 employees of their full salary without due process. It was implemented in June 2017. The salary rates were reverted back to the old rate as of June 30, 2011, the second tranche of SSL 3. At present, national government agencies' rates are based on SSL 4 Tranche 2. The act of the board constituted diminution of benefits, which is a violation of the law. We cited jurisprudence here, Your Honors, hindi ko na po babanggitin isa-isa. Alleged violation of Section 27D of RA 10606. In the COA Audit Observation Memorandum dated March 23, 2017, it has audited externally managed fund BDO account presented in the financial statements. Verification disclosed that the total amount of almost 900 million out of the 1 billion initial investments being managed by an externally managed fund, which is BDO, were invested in common stocks, which is contrary to Section 27 of RA 10606, otherwise known as the PhilHealth Charter, which limits the investments to be made in preferred stocks only. But we invested in common stocks. It likewise showed the same audit memorandum in an income statement prepared by BDO. The said investments in common stocks had a cumulative losses of almost 116 million. What did the board do about this? Management allowed the collection of onerous agency fees from casual employees. The employees' union, headed by Ms. Esperanza Ocampo, charged the casual employees this onerous fee 10% for the one-time 2016 CNA incentive amounting to 20,000 pesos given last January 2017 at 2,000 per casual staff. There are 3,540 casual staff, Your Honor, so this amounted to 7 million. The 2,000 pesos collected from the casuals as agency fee for the 20,000 CNA incentive is unconscionable. This violates the provisions in Resolution Number 15, Section 2313, which states that agency fees must be equivalent to all dues and other fees paid by a member in a particular year where the CNA incentive is granted. The membership fee, Your Honor, is only 10 pesos a month. So for a year, it's 120 pesos for 1 year. That's for the members. But for the casual employees, they collected 2,000 pesos for this one-time grant of 20,000. Anti-labor and anti-worker. The decisions of the PhilHealth Board on the suspension of the benefits and salaries of the employees were all done arbitrarily during executive sessions without due regard to the possible detrimental impact it would cause the employees and PhilHealth's operations. There are more casual employees than regulars, and the casual employees are being discriminated as they do not enjoy the same benefits as the regular employees. The only difference between the two should only be on the security of tenure. Detrimental impacts of the decisions of the PhilHealth Board. The decisions of the PhilHealth Board, led by Secretary Ubial, have resulted in extreme demoralization in the corporation and has in turn gravely affected the performance and corporate output in general. It has brought about low productivity, causing the turnaround time for the processing of claims to reach an average of 65 days.
Ms. Francisco, before you proceed, how many more minutes for your presentation?
1 more minute.
1 more minute. Okay, thank you.
Unmanaged political bickerings among the PhilHealth Board of Directors which affected the implementation of the program. After only a month from the nomination and election of Dr. Dineros, who's here with us, as interim president and CEO, he was ousted by Secretary Ubial from his position. According to Dr. Dineros in his statement, he was ousted while thrashing out spurious, falsified, and illegal board resolutions and personal orders which, if properly thrashed out and considered at the board meeting, will identify the roots of PhilHealth's corruption and other anomalies. And lastly, violation of Executive Order Number 36, Series of 27. Ito po yung implementation of the Salary Standardization Law. This order suspended the CPCS, the EO 203, and this replaced EO 203 for the GOCCs. So the PhilHealth Board submitted to GCG the current authorized rates as of June 2017 in violation of Sections 9 and 11 of the IIR of EO number 36. This will in effect caused a lot of actual diminution of salaries of the current employees. I've signed, we have submitted the signatures also, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Francisco. Ms. Francisco, before we proceed, please allow the chair to ask just a few questions. But before that, for our common education, let me read to you, related to your statement earlier, that some documents are forthcoming.
Signatures, yes, Your Honor.
Yes, okay. This is for our information.
Mindanao employees are signing.
Yes.
And then Visayas.
I just want to highlight this because in Article 6, investigation of committees, Section 3, oppositions or complaints. No opposition or complaint filed by a non-member of the Commission to a nomination or appointment shall be considered by the committee unless it be in writing, under oath, and presented to it before the said committee has made its final recommendation. So the oppositor or complainant shall be duly notified of the date when his opposition or complaint will be considered. Ma'am, I just want to share this with you because this is the moment of truth. We have a timeline to follow. Okay? So you will have to understand that what you present now, is what is entered into the record for the committee's deliberation. Okay.
I understand, Your Honor.
I have a second question. Out of curiosity, when did you decide to file your opposition to the confirmation of the nominee, Secretary?
We've been hearing, we've been monitoring the confirmation hearings, Your Honor. Matagal na po namin gusto mag-file actually ng opposition. Actually, ang mga staff po natatakot lang po. So, finally, when they heard that this is the, sir,
Natatakot sa ano? Sa kanino? What generates that
Siyempre, sir,
fear?
we are government employees. Sa PhilHealth po kasi, pag hindi, there's this, the people are not open, hindi po transparent ang the board. They've been having executive sessions. Actually, nagugulat na lang nga po kami sa mga decisions ng board. They've been, yes, nakatakot po yung mga tao.
So, ang takot ninyo, baka pag na-confirm
Yes, sir.
baka balikan
Yes,
kayo?
sir. Yes, sir.
Well, okay. We enter that.
Kasi ang fear ng mga tao, pag ma-confirm na si Secretary Ubial, what will happen to us?
Okay.
And if she will not be confirmed, she might be president of PhilHealth.
Well, we enter that into the record. Secretary Rosas, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sorry, Congressman Rosas.
Thank you.
Error. I'm not prematurely promoting him.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to just clarify, as to why the timing of opposition. Now, she mentioned, this oppositor, mentioned that natatakot po kayo. Alam niyo po, we had numerous meetings in the House, not necessarily here in the Senate, and so far, wala pong lumabas na opposition coming from you. Number two, nagtatakot po ako na you said a while ago that you were representing PhilHealth, and it says here in number 2, violation of rule of diminution of salaries and benefits. The said board deprived the 6,236 PhilHealth employees of their full salary without due process. Now, you also mentioned that only 150 has the intention of the complaint, no? Nasaan po yung 6,086?
Sir, actually, yung problem po namin, we started early this year. Actually, sir, we've been airing our concerns internally, sir. As much as possible, we want it aired internally sa Office of the President, and then we have letters to the board, but it fell on deaf ears. Wala pong nakikinig sa amin, walang uma-action sa amin. So, when we heard na we feel betrayed kasi the board have been having executive sessions and then suddenly they will announce that the salaries have been reverted back to the 2011 level, that they suspended our salaries and benefits arbitrarily without hearing our side. And then after that decision, we've been airing our concerns internally. Ilang beses na po kami nagpapirma ng petition for the lifting of the suspension of that board resolution suspending the salaries. So ang mga tao din, sa dami-dami na naming pinapapirma sa kanila, nagtatanong na rin sila, may epekto ba talaga itong pinapirmahan natin? Wala namang nangyayari. So maybe this is the last time that we will be soliciting signatures from the employees kasi walang nangyayari po, sir. Kaya sa tingin namin, maybe this is the right venue to air our concerns, to air the employees' concerns. And then yun nga, sir, natatakot din sila pag na-confirm na si Secretary Ubial, babalikan kami. At pag di naman na-confirm, baka maging presidente nga din siya ng PhilHealth, which is more detrimental to us. That's what we feel.
Yes, Ma'am Maria, no? Ang question, although this could be the right avenue, ang kini-question ko lang po, Mr. Chair, is the timing. Like we said, our Secretary Ubial has been one of the first na isinalang natin dito sa CA. I remember, I think it was last year. And I'm just baffled at the timing kung bakit at the very last day biglang nagdagsaan yung mga oppositors bigla, basing from your allegations na medyo mabigat-bigat, and since you have been saying that you've been representing PhilHealth, which is a big part of Department of Health. Yun lang po, Mr. Chair. Yun lang po yung
Thank you, Congressman Salosa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Before I recognize Congressman Gatchalian, we actually have an order of the members who would like to ask. In fact, the status of the order of questioning was Senator Soto suspended his questions to give way to Senator Pacquiao and to the Honorable Nene Sata. But if your question is related, so that we will not lose.
Yes, Mr. Chair, it's in continuation with the question of Congressman Rosas.
Yes, please. Congressman Gatchalian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Francisco, I just want to clarify your representation of when you say the employers or mga employee. No, babalik lang ako doon sa tanong ko ulit. Can you furnish a copy of that said signature campaign that you referred to a while ago to the committee? And what is the signature campaign for? What is the objective of that document? Kasi dito sa likod, wala naman hong signatures ng mga so-called employees na inyo pong rine-represent.
Sure. Your Honor, we submitted the original signatures together with the manifestation for the opposition.
So this is representing the 150 out of the 6,200 employees?
Yes, that we have submitted 150. Yun nga, sir. The more are coming. I have messaged a while ago from the preachers in Mindanao that they're...
So, Ma'am Francisco, just to clarify, this is only around 1% of the whole employee of PhilHealth. So, our representation ho, na we're sinasabi niyo ho, we have disgruntled employees. So, I just want to clarify kung ito ba'y boses din na nakakarami in PhilHealth, or is just representing only the 1% of PhilHealth? So, yung complaints niyo ho.
Your Honor, if you want it supported by signatures, I can bring it at a later time. I may not have it here right now, but the employees in Mindanao, in Visayas, they want to sign the manifestation for opposition. I can submit it later, Your Honor, if you want it backed by signatures.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if we will be allowed, we could ask for copies of that signature campaign from Visayas and Mindanao. But can you clarify, Ms. Francisco, on this number 2, section B, about the depriving of the 6,236 employees of their full salary without due process? Ano ba ito?
On August 2016 po, there was a board resolution in 2009. It was approved by the board of directors. This is the salary, SSL 3. They approved the salary increase in 4 tranches in 4 years in 2009. So the first and second tranche were implemented but it stopped in 2011 because of the creation of the GCG, the Governance Commission for GOCCs. On March 8, 2017, there was a board resolution, on August 16, 2016, the third and fourth tranches were approved by the 2016 board led by Secretary Ubial, implementing the unimplemented third and fourth tranche. So dapat po itong third and fourth tranche for 2011 and 2012, which was implemented only last year. But on March 8, we were surprised because the board, again, the 2017 PhilHealth board, led by Secretary Ubial, signed another board resolution suspending the third and fourth tranches.
This is covered by the COA disallowance,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So it's natural that Secretary Ubial will follow the COA notice of disallowance.
But we were able to get the opinion of the OGCC, Office of the Government Corporate Council, that this is this positive portion of that opinion states that all considered, the PhilHealth Board may opt to continue the grant of the disallowed benefits pending the ND's appeal, provided that after its circumspect review of the matter, such benefits are reasonable, legally justified, and procedure for their grant has been properly observed. It further stated that thus PhilHealth retains the discretion to maintain status quo and continue to implement the disallowed benefits until the propriety of their grant has been finally determined. Yung ano po namin, sir, this was approved already in 2009, the fourth tranches, but which was stopped in 2010. Ang ano namin, sir, very arbitrary yung decision ng board kasi
What you're referring to is just the opinion of the GOCC.
Yes, OGCC.
And not the OGCC and not the notice of disallowance that was, well, in short, kailangan hong obliged sumunod si Secretary Ubial sa Commission on Audit.
But this is, we challenged nga it in court, sir, sa Supreme Court, yung mga benefits ng employees. But be that as it may, dapat po may due process. Dapat din siguro nahanda din yung mga empleyado na hindi naman yung bigla-biglang itigil na lang. Kasi ano, sir, yung ibig sabihin, ina-expect na po namin na tatanggapin namin yung sweldo na yan. Wala kang problema sa mga benefits and allowances, but this is basic salaries. Basic salaries po itong na-suspend. And then there's also rule on non-diminution of salaries. There should have been due process na naman lang, pin-repair yung mga employees or hindi naman bigla na ititigil din agad yung...
Mr. Francisco, information of Congressman Alasos, Congressman Gatchalian, can you make the necessary submissions to the committee and the commission that will clarify this issue in the heart and mind of Congressman Gatchalian and Congressman Alasos? Can you please do that for us?
Excuse me,
can you make the submissions that were requested by Congressman Gatchalian so that describing the chronology of events that will allow us to view this properly, objectively. Now, I just want to share this with you, that the process does not end here. Kaya kanina tinanong ko, Ms. Francisco, saan ang gagaling yung takot ninyo? No? Now, the Congress has an oversight function. Whatever the outcome of the confirmation hearings today, the process does not end. The budget, the hearings to clarify certain issues. And to us, the morale of the PhilHealth employees is important to the accomplishment of your mission. So having said that, can you do that as soon as possible?
Yes, Your Honor. We will do that, Your Honor.
Congressman Gatchalian?
That's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
We will now go back to where we left off. Senator Soto has suspended his questions to give way to Senator Pacquiao and Congressman Nene Esato.
Mr. Chair, nobody asked anything about or asked Mr. Dineros, the first poster. Does that mean that we're taking everything he said?
What we will do, that being on record.
I don't know. It's not my turn. I'm suspended. I suspended my interpretation. I'll interpret later. It's Senator Pacquiao who's on deck. I just wanted to know why there was no question on the first oppositor. All the questions were in the second oppositor. I just wanted to find out.
Mr. Chairman, for clarification only, it appearing from the letter of Dr. Dineros that he's not interposed any objection to the appointment of Secretary Ubial. It just is the contents of the letter is just clearing his name about regarding the action taken by Secretary Ubial with regard to his ouster as President and CEO of the PhilHealth.
Okay,
Mr.
the chair takes
Chairman.
note, Congressman Loyola, Senator Soto.
Perhaps that is the correct perspective. But what I noticed in the letter is that he's saying that Secretary Ubial lied again to the Commission. That is the point, I think. And then, of course, you know, the health issue. Sabi nila, smoking is dangerous to your health. Eh, dito sa Commission, lying is dangerous to your confirmation.
Okay. Having raised that issue, Senator Soto, no, Congressman Loyola, what we will do now is we will ask the nominee, no, so put this to rest, to respond to the presentations of Dr. Dineros and Ms. Francisco.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor, Mr.
Madam
Chair.
Secretary, please.
And members
Before
of
we
the
proceed with the questions to either the oppositors so that we can allow them to leave or to the nominee.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor,
Please proceed,
Mr.
Madam
Chair.
Secretary.
On the point raised by Dr. Dineros that he was ousted and did not resign, I have here the minutes of that executive session, Your Honor. There were 11 board members present, including me and Dr. Dineros. The 9 other board members are ready. I have 2 here. The 9 other board members who were present during that said executive session are ready to submit their statement of confirmation of what transpired during that particular executive board meeting. And we are ready to submit all the minutes, the audio documentation of that said board meeting, and the PBR, or PhilHealth Board Resolution, pertaining to the issues raised by Dr. Dineros, that I lied and told this body that he was not ousted, but he did not resign. Let me quote from the minutes of the meeting. Dr. Dorotan said that Dr. Dineros can still contribute a lot as he continues to be a board member, and moved for Dr. De La Serna to be the new OIC PCEO until the President has appointed a regular PCEO. And for the record, Dr. Dineros added that he would not disagree with everything that came through today as a process, but then there would be a question on how things should be done, but he will still be here as part of the board. Dr. Ubial proceeded with the proposal on the floor. I'm just quoting the pertinent statements in the minutes of that executive board meeting. Proposal on the floor, which was made by Dr. Dorotan, to actually withdraw the appointment of OIC PCEO Dr. Dineros and to elect Dr. De La Serna as new OIC PCEO.
However, Dr. Dineros replied that just to free the board from the agony, as his colleagues expressed, losing their trust and confidence in him, he is now resigning as PCEO just to give the board all the allowance to choose. Again, next paragraph. Dr. Dineros averred twice. I asked him 3 times, are you sure, Dr. Dineros, you want to resign? So in the minutes, it's written, Dr. Dineros averred twice that he had already resigned, to which Dr. Ubial asked if the resignation is accepted by the board. Upon a motion duly seconded, the board accepted the resignation of Dr. Dineros. And we will submit to the members of the Commission on Appointments the PBR pertaining to the verbal resignation of Dr. Dineros and the appointment of Dr. De La Serna as PCEO, interim PCEO of PhilHealth on that particular executive board meeting on April 10, 2017. Now, on the other issues raised, there was a reference that I exercised abuse of authority. I was signing several documents that, as chairman of the board, I should not be signing, but it's the president and CEO. And actually, that is true. I signed all those documents, Your Honors, because the interim PCEO is an OIC and cannot sign documents that are policy determining and discretionary. Only day-to-day functions can be signed by an OIC president and CEO. And I would like to also point out to the members of the Commission on Appointments, the top 17 positions in PhilHealth when I came in were all OIC. For 2.5 years, there were no appointments in PhilHealth. So I had to carry the burden of all the policy determining and discretionary documents in PhilHealth. I have to sign myself. And the board did
Madam
not...
Secretary,
Yes, sir.
Why were these positions not filled? Did you check? I just wanted to...
Your Honor, we were not able to confer with the previous board of PhilHealth, but I think it was the Promotion Selections Board or the Nominations Committee of the PhilHealth Board that are supposed to appoint top or third-level positions in the board, in the PhilHealth Corporation, did not meet. Actually, they did not meet. So there were no appointments in the last 2.5 years. And we're doing that now. The Nominations Committee is now meeting, and we're processing the submissions or applications from around 100 applicants for the top 17 positions in PhilHealth.
Madam
Your
Secretary,
Honor.
I asked that question because this seems to be a systemic problem. No? Under whatever administration this happened, we seem to be perpetually victims of a self-inflicted bureaucratic glitch that affects the efficiency of this very important sector, no?
Yes, sir.
The public health sector, with so much resources at its disposal. But anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest. Please
Yes,
proceed.
sir.
How many more minutes before you?
Yes, about 2 minutes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please proceed.
And we will submit all the pertinent documents, Your Honor, and my verified answer to the opposition of Dr. Dineros and to Ms. Francisco. Yes, Your Honor. The chair is not the PCEO. I was never president and CEO of PhilHealth, nor do I intend to be. At no time has this happened. Records will show that all efforts were made to avoid a situation where the chair and the PCAO would be one and the same person. The Secretary illegally encroached on the powers of the PCAO is absolutely baseless. The board granted only OIC status to the interim PCAO, that was Dr. Dineros and now Dr. De La Serna. Hence, he or she is expected only to exercise day-to-day functions. The residual power to exercise discretionary beyond those given to OIC PCAO, such as power to appoint, was not granted to the interim PCAO and instead granted to the chair through a PhilHealth Board resolution. The level of accountability of the OIC PCAO is low given the interim nature of the appointment. However, the PhilHealth operations may be hampered if the power remains with the board, who then meet only once a month. Hence, the board delegated such powers to the chair of the board, yours truly. And then the board materials are available to each board member. Minutes are approved and PhilHealth board resolutions are signed by them. We have the notation of Dr. Dineros that he had extreme difficulty in securing copies of the minutes and board resolutions from our corporate secretary is false. As a board member, he is given a copy of the minutes for approval. PBRs are routed to him for signature, and in fact, he signed or noted all PBRs except for the one where the board affirmed the appointment of interim PCAO De La Serna. And all other board members can attest to this process. The PhilHealth was not under the administrative control and supervision of the DOH. It has always been governed by its governing body, the board. This has never been put to question. The PBR establishing a third-party fact-finding body and the subsequent department order of the DOH only manifests the willingness of the DOH to assist PhilHealth in its hour of need to resolve an investigation of disallowances arising from irregular PBRs. And on the opposition by the employees of PhilHealth, I'm sorry to say to the members of the Commission on Appointments, it was really very difficult as chair of the PhilHealth Board for me to implement 13 disallowances. 13 disallowances by COA. So I know that all these benefits were already given to the employees, but they were disallowed by COA. 2 were confirmed by the Supreme Court. But when we asked the GOCC their opinion whether the salary adjustment made on August 2016 was approved or confirmed by them, they came out with a decision in January to disapprove it. So we had a PhilHealth Board resolution by April to stop the provision of this salary adjustment based on SSL3 and SSL4. And that's where we are. It pains the board and it pains the chairman of the board to actually remove the compensation and allowances of all PhilHealth employees, but we have to follow the law, Your Honor. And as to not being transparent, as to having executive sessions, we did that to protect also the information coming from the board, but we have a communication plan. We communicated to the authorized representative of the employees of PhilHealth, that is Mrs. Esperanza Ocampo, with the PhilHealth Employees Association, Your Honor. And we hope that we will be submitting all the required documents to clear this matter up with the Commission on Appointments. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. At this point, the Chair would like to ask the members if there are any questions for the oppositors so that we can excuse them. But before that, the Chair would like to recognize the presence of Senator Subiri. So I go back to the previous question. Do we have any questions to the oppositors? Okay, then Senator Pacquiao is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to Dr. Dineros. Just one for clarification. Did you say that may nakita kang irregularities doon sa pagpapatakbo ng PhilHealth managed by DOH Secretary Ubial?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for the question, Mr. Senator Pacquiao. Yes po, marami po akong nakita irregularities. That's why we need to do something about it.
Pwede mo bang yung mga hindi pa nasabi dito, yung mga irregularities doon sa PhilHealth, pwede mo bang sabihin dito?
Para po sa kaalaman ng lahat, lahat po ng mga policies ng organization ginagawa po ng board level, sa board po yun. Then after sa board, ini-implement po yun sa management. Lahat po ng pinag-uusapan sa board ay dumadaan sa isang proseso. And incidentally, we had problems with PhilHealth in as far as its situation is concerned. Yung kanyang pag-deliver ng services, benefits, etc. Yung aming financial positions, etc. That's why we're there to discuss about all these things. Unti-unti po nakikita yung mga problema, and so ginagawan po ng paraan yon. And again, based on policies, kagaya lang po nitong unang present ko kasi nag-focus lang po ako dun sa situation ko as elected PCEO at that time. Meron po demarcation ng duties and responsibilities between chairperson and CEO. And hindi po kasi nasusunod yun. And then yung pag-craft po ng aming resolutions ay hindi po naayos. In fact, kagaya ng nasabi ko, may mga kailangan kunin, hindi nakukuha. Meron din kailangan marinig, hindi rin naririnig. Ito po yung mga irregularities, and hindi po makakagawa ng conclusion right away, but we have to investigate further. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Senator. Mr. Chairman.
One of the reasons you resigned, that you say that Secretary Ubial is asserting her personal agenda. It is correct?
For the record, Mr. Chairman and Senator Pacquiao, hindi po ako nag-resign voluntarily. I was involuntarily ousted para po itong sitwasyon. Kung hindi po ako nag-disagree doon sa mga sinabi ni Secretary Ubial sa kanyang statements, but then yung mga statements na yun ay nasa dulo na po yun sa kabuuhan ng meeting namin na more than an hour. So kung para po itong boxing, maraming jabs ba until finally yung final blow. And again, I would like to state the fact na hindi po ito voluntary resignation. I was involuntarily ousted.
Thank you, Mr. Dineros. To Secretary Ubial. Good morning, Secretary.
Good morning, Your Honor, Sir Chair.
I'm sure medyo nagulat ka doon sa iniwanan kong questions last
Yes, Your Honor.
hearing natin.
Yes, Your Honor. We are from the same region, Your Honor.
Yes, yes.
Region 12.
Of course, it's an honor for us to have you in manage the DOH, diba? Kasi magkababayan. I just want clarification, Madam Secretary. Yung tanong ko sa inyo na iniwanan ko, na sabi ko may kilala ba kayong anak? May anak ba kayong Carl? Okay. And then next question ko is, kung suportado ka ba 100% ng pamilya mo? Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm sure hindi mo naman sila control, no, pero sometimes kasi mga tao nakatutok palagi kung sino yung mga opisyalis ng gobyerno, talagang bawat salita, bawat comment mo na nababasa ng mga tao. And then hindi mo naman siguro control kasi busy ka masyado, pero siyempre pangit naman na ikaw nandyan sa DOH, secretary, and then yung pamilya mo mag-comment ng bad against the administration o masama, pangit naman. Especially sa amin, mga senators, and then clarification kasi, especially yung si Carl, nag-comment siya doon sa, I just want clarification for this because hindi kasi maintindihan ng tao kasi nag-file ako ng bill na nag-file ako ng bill ng Bible holiday, and then nag-file din ako ng death penalty. So parang kung titingnan mo, if you don't have complete knowledge, you will not understand. Nag-file ako ng death penalty and then nag-file ako ng Bible holiday. It's kind of a contradict, but it's explainable, Madam Secretary, na yung pag-file ko, I just want to explain myself, Mr. Chairman. Yung talking about Bible holidays is, I filed Bible holiday, and then I filed death penalty. Death penalty is not about individual. Death penalty is about the government, the authority. So, of course, I agree that God is, do not kill, thou shalt not kill. I believe that thou shalt not kill. But we are talking about the authority government. So, the Bible says that God is giving the authority, giving the authority to impose capital punishment. Those people na hindi talaga makinig.
Yes, Your Honor. I discussed the matter with my son. He was taken out of context, Your Honor, and my son is willing to make a public apology on that matter, Your Honor.
Senator Pacquiao, before we continue, with the permission of the members of the committee, unless there are questions for the oppositor, we would like to have your permission to excuse them already. Any other?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Congressman.
maybe not a question, but I'd just like to know the little information that I have.
Congressman Ocampo,
Yes.
before you proceed, I interrupted Senator Pacquiao to raise that issue. May I ask your indulgence if we can resolve that issue first? Would there be any questions for the oppositors, basically? About the PhilHealth. Okay, so we proceed with the question from Senator Pacquiao, and then we give you the opportunity to ask the oppositors. Senator Pacquiao, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Siguro pagsabihan na lang natin si Carl na hindi na mag-comment kasi pangit naman na you're doing your job the government sa DOH, and then may mga comment na masama doon sa ibang leader ng bansa, and then especially sa administration, pangit naman.
Yes, Your Honor. I have discussed this with my son, and he is very sorry and is willing to make a public apology.
Senator Pacquiao, Madam
Thank you.
Secretary, can we read the quote of Carl? Ay, pwede pala laki. Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt. Senator Pacquiao, please proceed.
Yan po yung gusto kong i-explain. Yung in-explain ko kayo na Mr. Chairman, na nag-comment yung anak niya na yung about sa death penalty and about sa Bible holiday. So, yun po nga in-explain ko nakalagay dyan. At yun nga, na ang mga tao kasi hindi maintindihan kung if you don't know the Bible, you will not understand it. But to impose the penalty, hindi tayo individually nag-impose ng the penalty, kundi ang government, which is the government is established by God, instituted by God. So whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted. So meaning, iba po yung mahaba pong explanation, but we are focusing on your confirmation and today. So it's a long explanation about that. So ang tanong ko pa po ay your leadership is a question, and DOH may mga naano tayong complaint from the staff of DOH, galing doon sa DOH mismo, yung mga staff ninyo complaining that there is no clear sense of direction for DOH. What can you say about that?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, I do my best. We have formulated the Philippine Health Agenda, but I know that I cannot please everyone. There will still be opposing and dissenting opinions within the Department of Health, within PhilHealth, and other organizations. But let me show you the track record. In the past year that I was in office, we have launched a number of programs, and we have made sure that there was no outbreak. In the conflict in Marawi, there were no outbreaks. In the earthquake in Surigao, we made sure that even if our hospital was destroyed, patients were taken care of even in private hospitals using government funds. So a lot of things have been done out of the box, and also providing our people, especially the poor, with quality health services, and that has been my goal and my advocacy since the start of my career in the Department of Health 29 years ago. We have submitted also to the members of the Commission on Appointments the performance of the DOH in the last 365 days. This performance, Your Honor, speaks for itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Ubial. Ano po ang plano ninyo dito sa pagdating sa PhilHealth? Yung plano niyo in 2 years, 3 years from now, ano pa yung mga plano ninyo? Gusto ko malaman.
Yes, Your Honor. We have just crafted the strategic plan for PhilHealth for the next 5 years, so 2017 to 2022. And we'll be willing to submit that to the members of the Commission on Appointments. But basically, it's a very long document, but basically, we want financial stability, improve the collection efficiency of PhilHealth, and improve the turnaround time in which we pay for the claims and benefits of our members, and expand membership to 100% of Filipinos. So we're doing that this year through the point of service and point of care enrollment for those without PhilHealth. And hopefully, if a bigger budget is provided to PhilHealth in terms of premium payments, we can provide additional benefits such as the check-up package or the out-of-patient benefit package for all Filipinos in the coming years, Your Honor.
Do you have a data kung ilan na yung ilang percent na yung nabigyan ng PhilHealth sa bansa natin?
Yes, Your Honor.
At saka ilan pa yung kailangan bigyan?
Yes, Your Honor. Based on our records in December 2016, we have covered 92% of the Philippine population that are now enrolled into PhilHealth. The 8% of the population not yet enrolled in PhilHealth will be covered this year through the point of service and the point of care strategy of PhilHealth, meaning that if a person without health insurance goes to the hospital, they will be enrolled and they will be covered by PhilHealth, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
Did you still consider about yung yung emergency PhilHealth? Pag wala kang PhilHealth, pwede kang kumuha yung tinatawag nating emergency PhilHealth?
Yes, Your Honor, that is precisely the point of service. Wala po silang PhilHealth, they go to the hospital, they need hospitalization, PhilHealth will pay for them. Wala po silang PhilHealth card. But after they leave the hospital, they will now be enrolled in PhilHealth. That's the strategy, Your Honor.
Thank you. Sa ating, thank you, Madam Secretary. Sa ating mga senior citizen po, kasi magulang ko senior citizen na eh. Dad, Mami D, Papa ko. Anong plano niyo po sa ating mga senior citizen?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Chair, PhilHealth law to cover 100% or all senior citizens in this country with automatic enrollment was passed in 2014. And they are now covered using the GAA provision in 2017 and 2018. Unfortunately, when the law was passed in 2014 and 2015, we considered the enrollment of the senior citizens as a benefit that is already provided, but national government did not allocate the funds to enroll them. So PhilHealth is now requesting DBM to pay for the arrears in PhilHealth enrollment for senior citizens for 2014 and 2015 to the tune of around 22 billion pesos, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Go back to your son, Carl. Okay lang yung mga sa akin. Hindi ako nagtatanim ng galit sa kanya o hindi ako galit. Okay lang yan. Pero gusto ko lang itanong, what can you say about the comment ni Carl doon against Senator Soto?
I'm sorry. Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Chair. When my son posted that, we told him to remove it. He did not, and I'm really, really sorry that sometimes we talk to our children and they do not follow their parents. But I'm sure that my son will not want to jeopardize my confirmation, and he is ready to issue a public apology, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
Am I right that your son, Carl, is consultant? He is a consultant?
No, Your Honor. He is, we wanted to sign a contract of services for a 1 peso consultant for him in the DOH, but it was never signed. I checked our record. It was never signed, Your Honor.
So he's not your consultant? Just your son? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Thank you,
Thank
Senator.
you, Mr. Chairman.
May we recognize the Honorable Congresswoman Nene Sat for her questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, you were asking if any one of us has questions to the oppositors. I think there will be no questions for the oppositors, so they may be excused, if you will.
Ma'am, I understand the Honorable Ocampo has some issues to raise with the oppositors.
I have three sets of questions here. Madam Secretary, I am inclined to vote for your confirmation, but there are a lot of issues that are left hanging, and there are a lot of new issues which are beclouding the issues in my mind. First, on the issue of PhilHealth, isn't it a fact that Section 19 of the implementing rules and regulations of RA 7975, or the National Health Insurance Act of 2013, provides that the President and CEO of PhilHealth shall be appointed by the President of the Philippines upon recommendation of the board. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
And I saw from our researches that since the time you assumed the presidency, the post of Secretary of Health, and assumed the chair of the board of PhilHealth, there already was 3 presidents appointed.
Yes, Your Honor. They were appointed on an interim President and CEO capacity, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
Why are you appointing interim or OIC president except why not pass a resolution recommending these people or this particular person to the president to be appointed as full-fledged president of the corporation?
Yes, Your Honor, because in the previous President and CEO, acting President and CEO, Buddy Aristosa, he was appointed by the board as interim or acting, and we were awaiting the appointment of the President, of a President and CEO. He was actually the COO. So he was the default PCEO because of his seniority in the position of PhilHealth. So he was next in rank. So therefore, he was appointed acting President and CEO. And during that time, the President of the Philippines did not appoint any President and CEO for that position, Your Honor.
Madam Secretary, the law is very clear that the President will only appoint President of the PhilHealth upon recommendation of the board. Did you or did the board recommend to the President the appointment of a full-fledged president?
The board recommended to the President, dated
Recommended who?
June 9, 2017, Dr. De La Serna as for President and CEO of the PhilHealth, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
So, what was the action? Was he appointed or was he rejected?
There is no appointment papers, Your Honor, submitted to PhilHealth as of this time, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
When the President did not act on your recommendation, you appointed another OIC, is that correct?
the idea is that there were certain actions by the interim PCEO that the board resolved there was lack of trust and confidence, so that we elected another acting PCEO, interim PCEO, Your Honor.
When you lost trust and confidence on this acting president of the corporation, which you, the board, recommended to the president for appointment, did you recall your recommendation?
No, Your Honor. The first two interim PCEO, we did not recommend to the president, Your Honor.
I am asking you these questions because I am just concerned, being a lawyer and being a lawmaker, that if the board appoints successive OIC presidents, aren't you being disrespectful to the powers of the president? Because, this is a prerogative or a power vested by law upon the president, and I don't want any power vested upon the president to be circumvented by a board who should be under the power of the president. I don't want any diminution of powers granted to any particular officer of the country.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Chair, according to the rules of procedure, the board can elect among themselves an interim president and CEO if the president of the Philippines have not appointed such to the position. And because of lack of trust and confidence in the two previous interim president and CEO, the board had to elect among themselves a new interim president and CEO. That is the rules of procedure, Your Honor.
Yeah.
We were awaiting for the
Where is that rules
president
of
to
procedure?
appoint.
I have not seen that because I've read the IRR, I've read the law, and I have not seen that rules of procedure
We
that
will
you're
submit,
referring
Your
to.
Honor. It's
What
from
is that? A
the
rules of procedure of the board?
Corporate Governance Council, Your
No,
Honor.
but that is a general law. This is a specific law. And the general law cannot amend or supplement or even supersede. Thank you very much. Cannot supersede a law, a specific law. So you cannot, I believe, give that as a justification. Because it is very clear under your IRR, and under the law which creates your organization, that it is the sole authority of the president to appoint the president of the corporation upon the recommendation of the board. And I don't want an anomalous situation wherein the board will circumvent or cause the diminution of the power of the president by appointing successive OIC presidents.
Yes, Your Honor, we recognize that procedure, but it was unusual circumstance, Your Honor, that we cannot recommend to the president, the sitting acting president and CEO, because of certain activities that happened that made us lose trust and confidence in the sitting interim president and CEO.
Madam
Yes,
Secretary, I don't think you are getting my point very well. Why do you appoint an OIC who you think and you say you do not have full trust and confidence? An OIC president should have all the qualifications of a regular president. You cannot abrogate it upon yourself to appoint successive OIC presidents. because that is a diminution and a disrespect
Yes, Your
of
Honor.
the power of the President.
I think we have to submit the chronology of events, Your Honor, so that the Commission on Appointments will understand what happened in the case of the PhilHealth President and CEO, Your Honor.
I don't think a chronology of events
There was
would
basis.
answer and assuage the fear of this representation as to the anomalous practice that you are doing right now at the PhilHealth. Having said that, Mr. Chairman, there are repeated accusations and allegations of usurpation of functions. Again, as I've said, I am a lawyer and I am a lawmaker, and I would like to protect and safeguard the law, because I believe that if there is no rule of law in this government, or in any government or any society for that matter, then there will be no development, there will be no peace and order. So, Madam Secretary, what are the functions of a PhilHealth board chair? Can you please enlighten this representation?
Yes, Your Honor. The PhilHealth Board Chair actually presides over board meetings and discusses the policies of the corporation and approves policies of the corporation, Your Honor.
Approve. Can the chair approves or the board approves?
Your Honor, as the chair of the board, the Secretary of Health, together with all the board members, approve the policy of the board, Your Honor.
Yes, because the chair only presides. It does not decide. Okay? So, the chairman of the board basically schedules meetings, decide on the agenda, calls meetings, through the corporate secretary, presides, acts as chair of the executive committee, exercise control over quality, quantity, and timeliness of the flow of information between the board and the management. Take the lead in ensuring compliance with PhilHealth's guidelines on corporate governance. So you are just a conduit between the board and the management. When you say management, who heads the management of the corporation?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, it's the President and CEO of the corporation that heads management, Your Honor.
Okay. So as president of the board, of the corporation, would you know the functions of the president of the corporation?
Your Honor, the President and CEO of the corporation ensures that all the policies issued by the board is implemented by the corporation.
So the policies are decided on by the board, and the implementation and the execution of all the policies passed by the board should be implemented by the president, right? So, when you order reassignment of personnel from one office to another, is that policy determining or is that a management issue?
Your Honor, if it involves moving personnel, like one or two personnel, then that would be something I believe that is management prerogative. But if you're moving 43 senior position personnel in the corporation, I believe that will affect the whole activities of the corporation, and that is discretionary and policy determining, Your Honor.
Okay, so if it's one or two, how about if you are transferring 4? Is that a management action or a corporate board action or a policy determining action.
Yes, Your Honor.
Which is
in
yes.
that case, Your Honor, if there are more personnel being transferred, then we
No,
get
I'm asking you if
board
you
approval.
say that if it's one or two,
That's
then
policy.
it's management. I'm asking you what if you are transferring 5?
That
Or
is-
4.
Yes,
If
Your
you're
Honor.
transferring 4, is it management or board action?
Then we subject it to board decision, Your Honor.
So it is not a management
Yes,
action?
Your Honor.
What's the difference between 2 and 4?
Your Honor, if our interim president and CEO were regular plantilla position, he was appointed to that position, then he can do movement of personnel. But our PCEO is OIC and interim.
That's
So,
exactly my point, Madam Secretary. That for how many, for almost a year or more than a year, it's a succession of OIC. So that gives you that questionable or even anomalous right to perform the duties and functions of the president of the corporation. That's exactly my point. And you are, by your answers, you are proving my point. When you limit the designation as officer in charge and forwarding matters requiring discretion, is that management or policy? When you issue advisory of notice of vacancies, is that a management or a board action or policy determining? When you issue a memorandum or amended advisory, again with respect to vacancies, is that management or corporate action? When you reassign officers and personnel from one office to another, is that management or corporate action, Madam Secretary? Because I want you, I'm asking these questions to you, Madam Secretary, because I would want you to dispel and disprove their allegations that you have usurped the functions of the President.
yes, Your Honor. And accordingly, Your Honor, the PhilHealth Board has provided the chairperson through a board resolution the residual power to exercise discretion beyond those given to the OICP CEO, such as power to appoint and also the power to so that the PhilHealth operations will not be hampered. And
so you're telling me,
the board
can I
passed the
cut you short,
resolution.
Madam
Yes, Your Honor.
Secretary, because I don't want you to continue that line of answer because that will put you in a deeper hole. So you are telling me now that the board has the authority to give you the powers of the president of the corporation. Because I'm telling you, I've read the law, I've read the IRR, and I did not see, or I have not seen any provision that gives you the authority to appropriate for yourself the functions of the president of the corporation. Moving on to my next question. I don't want to delve on the question of Ms. Francisco with respect to the salad or the salary adjustment because I think the chairman has instructed you or requested you to submit your justifications or your grounds for on this issue. So I will not delve on that because I don't want to preempt your report on that matter. Madam Secretary, we are about to approve and adopt the universal health coverage, and which is very good for our people. But do you know anything about this universal health coverage, Madam Secretary?
Yes, Your Honor. I have been discussing it with Congresswoman Helen Tan, Your Honor.
So,
Sure, Chair.
what are the salient features of the universal health coverage?
Yes, Your Honor. The bottom line for the law is to actually provide quality health services to all Filipinos regardless of capacity to pay, Your Honor.
And what role will the PhilHealth play in the universal health coverage?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, that would be, PhilHealth is the main payer for health services in this country, Your Honor.
So the PhilHealth will play a very important and critical role in the implementation of the universal health coverage, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, if the PhilHealth will play a very crucial role in the success of the centerpiece legislation of this administration, then we have to assure that PhilHealth is run efficiently. Don't you say so?
Yes, Your
Madam
Honor.
Secretary?
They have a critical role in universal health coverage,
And
Your
we
Honor.
have to assure and ensure that the PhilHealth should be run efficiently by capable and competent people.
Yes, Your Honor.
That
Any government agency should in fact be run by capable and competent.
Let's not include the other government agencies because they are not an issue here. Okay? Now, I have also researched. I do my homework, Madam Secretary. I have researched on the comparative statement of income of PhilHealth. And I am very shocked to see that you are operating on a net loss. Can you confirm or deny that, Madam Secretary?
No, Your Honor. The PhilHealth statement of accounts in 2016 shows 63 million positive collection, Your Honor.
Yes, I know. I also have a statement of your income. You are registering a positive income because you included the 13 point something billion contributions from senior citizens, which have not been or has not been collected for several years now. So you are reporting this as an income, I'm not an accountant. Lawyers are very poor in figures. So I'm looking up to you, Madam Secretary. If this receivable should be properly included as your income.
These are considered, Your Honor, arrears and collectibles from national.
But if you have not been able to collect it for several years, are you still, I don't know, can somebody please enlighten me if this has to be? Yeah, the Honorable Bambol Tolentino said it's either cash on hand or cash in the bank. Oh. Yeah, wait, I just want to know because the president, the secretary is the chairman of the board and acting president of the corporation.
Yes, Your Honor, we are actively pursuing the collection of these arrears from national government, and we have been discussing with the Department of Budget and Management because it is true that these are premium payments for senior citizen. However, the payouts for senior citizen, the premium payments is about 10.6 billion for 1 year, but the payouts is 17 billion, Your Honor. So it is really a big, shall we say, dent to PhilHealth if these arrears are not paid up for?
My question, Madam Secretary, is it right to include this in your income, in your statement of income? Because if you deduct this, then you're operating on a loss. And I am very much concerned. If you are operating in a loss for several years, for 2 years now, then where do you get the money for the day-to-day operations? And according to according to my research, then you are dipping your fingers into the reserve, which is not and should not be done.
Yes, Your Honor. This is accounting and financing principle that if such funds are collectibles by the corporation, then it is included in the income statement of the corporation, Your Honor.
I'm being briefed by Honorable Cortuna, who is a very good accountant, saying that it should not be included as...
It's like this, receivables cannot be included as an income, but a fund generation. So, first, you have to age the receivables. May aging yun, then that will be part, whatever you collected, that's part of your funds generation. It seems that there is an understatement or overstatement of your income because receivables cannot be included as an income, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Madam, thank you very much, Accountant Juliet Fortuna. Oh, it's a CPA. Okay, so, I mean, so if you don't have the records right now, Madam Secretary, then I would like to request for a detailed financial statement of the PhilHealth, because I'm asking all these questions because, as you said, PhilHealth will play a very crucial role in the implementation of the universal health law. And if PhilHealth is not run correctly or competently, and if PhilHealth is in the red and is now operating on the reserve funds, then we have so much to worry about. Okay, so that's PhilHealth. I would like to, Madam Secretary, may I still continue with my question?
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us put a closure on this dengue issue. Because the dengue was, we know that from 2014, we had 121,580 dengue cases, 2015, 200,000, 2016, 211, 2017 up to September, 76,000. Deaths, 465 in 2014, 2015, 598, 2016, 1,000. And for this year, up to September is 415. Why did you stop the administration of vaccines, of dengue vaccines? Because a lot of my colleagues in Congress have really, there was an uproar when you stopped the implementation of the dengue vaccination.
Your Honor, I would like to clarify with this committee that we did not stop dengue vaccination. It's on pilot implementation in Region 3, 4A, and NCR, and it's on expanded implementation in Region 7. And it's ongoing. The pilot will end by June 2018, Your Honor. Madam Chair.
Madam Secretary, Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you're saying that there was never an instance when you ordered the suspension of the administration. Because in one of the readings I made in your actions, you called for a board or a group of experts.
Expert panel meeting. Yes,
The
Your
first
Honor.
group of experts. What was the recommendation of the first group of experts?
Your Honor, the first expert panel, which was convened July 2016, recommended that we do not expand the implementation to other areas, but continue to implement the dengue vaccination among the children that already received the first dose in Region 3, NCR, and 4A, and to continue implementation of the program until all children who received the first dose will complete the 3 doses as recommended for this vaccine, Your Honor.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Secretary, that on July 21, 2016, Secretary Ubial, in consultation with the dengue expert panel number 1, issued a stop on the implementation of the first dose of vaccines that is contained in dengue expert panel resolution number 1 series of 2016. Is that correct or not?
Your Honor, as explained, we did not stop the implementation of the dengue vaccine, but the recommendation of the expert panel was to continue vaccinating only those that received the first dose to complete 3 doses of the vaccine, as it is being the way to administer it is being recommended, Your Honor.
Why is it, Madam Secretary, that in a matter of less than 3 months, or specifically on October 3, 2016, you called for another panel of experts? That is the panel of experts number 2. Why?
Your Honor, if you might recall in the budget hearing during that period before the second expert panel, there was a request from Honorable Gwen Garcia of Cebu to actually convene a second expert panel for a second opinion. That is why that second expert panel was convened, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
I was interviewing people who asked you or requested you to convene a second panel of experts. They told me that they requested for a second panel because the first panel was composed of doctors, though they are well-known and, good, excellent doctors. Their expertise were not on infectious diseases or on vaccines. So they said that they requested you to call for a second panel because those doctors which were included in the first panel, though very good and excellent doctors, were not experts on infectious diseases. And the second panel was, admittedly, was composed of experts on infectious diseases. And this group issued a resolution or a recommendation which is, I think, if you ask me, are opposite of the recommendation. I don't know, for a lack of a better term, because they said under resolution number 2, to expand the dengue school-based immunization program, to conduct catch-up immunization for missed pupils in Region 3, 4A, and NCR, and to strengthen the advocacy and communication, effectively inform the public of the importance of the vaccine. So, and this, the first one said not to expand the implementation anymore. The second one is to expand. You know, this created, and I've been interviewing a lot of people, Madam Secretary.
Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
And this brought about a confusion on the public, especially the parents, as to what
Yes,
is
Your
this
Honor.
all about.
Yes,
Wait, I don't, you don't have any question yet. So that when you again order the implementation as scheduled, the number of people who lined up for the vaccination was much, much lower than the first batch immunized under the program. Is that correct, Madam Secretary?
Yes, Your Honor. We actually got about 60% coverage in the first batch, and we got less than 50% coverage in the second batch of immunization. May I add, Your Honor, that people get their information from the internet, and there's a lot of information on the internet that actually sow fear in our population that the dengue vaccine that is currently being
Again,
used.
Madam Secretary, may I cut you short?
Yes,
Because
po.
again, that will not put you in a good light. Because if you're telling me that people believe, or the internet or the social media is more active than the information campaign of our department, then that does not speak well of us. So what happens now? There are, I think, more than 500 or vaccines which are now in your storage and about to expire on August 2018. Is that correct?
Honor.
So what will
It's
happen to
about to
this
expire.
to these 500 plus vaccines that will expire in August of 2018? And because Madam Secretary, I was from my researches, the dengue vaccination is on 3 doses. So and with a span of or a interval of 6 months in between the 3 doses. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So what will happen to the 500 or so vaccines which are just there lying and about to expire, and this will cost the government a lot of money?
Your Honor, that is true. As of August 9, 2017, we have 590,000 doses still at hand. And we have started implementing the expansion in Cebu Province, in Caloocan City, in Makati, in Manila, and Quezon City, and with an assumption of 50% coverage of the eligible population, we will be able to immunize 590,000 children with 3 doses by August 2018, the expiry date of this particular vaccine, Your Honor. Mr. Chair.
Yeah. And you know, I want to go very technical in this. I specifically put it down because when I interviewed doctors, ito medyo technical kaya babasahin ko to. Considering the delays in the implementation of the dengue vaccination, can we still attain the critical threshold on the number of population vaccinated in order to produce herd immunity? Can you explain that for the purpose or for the education of everybody in the commission? That how can you attain a critical threshold on the number of population vaccinated in order to produce herd immunity? Ano po bang ibig sabihin nito? Kasi akala ko yung herd yun sa mga baka.
Yes, Your Honor.
So ano po ito?
Mr. Chair, unfortunately, the dengue vaccine is one vaccine where you do not attain herd immunity. What the dengue vaccine confers is individual immunity. what herd immunity means is like the measles vaccine. If you immunize 85% of the population of children, even the 15% that you did not immunize will be protected because it will stop the transmission of the virus. But for dengue vaccine, there's no such thing as herd immunity because the virus is not transmitted person to person. It's transmitted through a vector, the mosquito. So the dengue vaccine confers only individual immunity, and there is no herd immunity to speak of with the dengue vaccine. Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, okay. That is your opinion, Madam Secretary. But I have opinions of 3 doctors who are expert in infectious diseases, which tells me that the critical threshold on the number of population should produce herd immunity, and this applies to dengue vaccine. So it's your word against them. So I'm just telling you that these 3 infectious diseases experts tell me that there is such thing as herd immunity in dengue. So, sige, bawasin ko na lang. Ito na lang, huli na lang. Sorry po. Madam Secretary, ay, dami kong dito. Is it correct that you issued an administrative order number 2016 0041? Did you issue that, Madam Secretary?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I don't know the particulars of that issuance. Your Honor.
So I will inform you that DOH Administrative Order number 0041, series of 2016, sets an overall policy directions and identifies the roles and functions of DOH, its officers and partner agencies in the provision of quality post-abortion care in hospitals and all health facilities. I'm trying to look for a copy of that because I have a copy of that. I read it.
Yes, Your Honor, I issued that
just have a lot of
policy.
documents here that I cannot find it anymore.
Yes, Your Honor, I issued that policy. Now that you stated the subject matter, Your Honor.
Importante po to. Dapat alam niyo yung mga numero niyan. So, in Section 2, Section 5, Item 2, treatment of all complications from spontaneous and induced abortion, which is being questioned by midwives and nurses. Because it states here in that section that you are allowing the specific provision, doctors, nurses, and midwives, trained and certified to provide PMAC. What is PMAC?
Your Honor, that is post-abortion management and care, Your Honor.
Services are allowed to perform some level of post-abortion care, including vacuum aspiration and manual vacuum aspiration for uncomplicated trimester spontaneous abortion. So, the nurses and the midwives themselves have approached you and have approached us because they said that the vacuum aspiration, whether it is manual or otherwise, is beyond their competency. And it is also my fear, Madam Secretary, being a former local chief executives, yung pong kondisyon sa probinsya. Pag pinabayaan mo po yung midwife at yung nurse na mag-perform ng ganito, eh baka sila yung puntahan ng mga tao na gustong magpa-abort. And they themselves have appealed to you to please repeal and remove this. But you told them, I don't know if, I will not tell you who told me, your answer was, saka na lang pag na-confirm na ako. But in the meantime, Madam Secretary, marami nang nag-a-aspirate doon sa mga baryo at probinsya. Paano do?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to say that we don't make arbitrary decision in the Department of Health, and I never said that we will change the policy based on my confirmation or not, Your Honor. We make decisions based on evidence. And there are 400,000 abortion deaths in this country, not only induced abortion, but also spontaneous abortions. And there are a lot of areas in this country where there are no doctors to perform dilatation and curettage. There are no obstetricians in some areas. And the manual vacuum aspiration technology has been introduced in other countries. It's life-saving to complete and to treat complicated or incomplete abortions of women, whether it's induced or whether it's spontaneous abortion. 400,000 deaths a year in this country, Your Honor.
I recognize that, Madam Secretary, and I would like to consider that. It's just that if the objection or the appeal comes from the very persons you are authorizing to perform a particular act and saying that it is beyond their competency to do this, then it also puts a question to the safety of the people that you are saying you want to protect.
Yes, sure.
And that's my only concern. I cannot argue with you on this.
Yes, Your
Because
Honor.
you are a doctor, I am a lawyer. This is within your expertise. My only concern is that I've heard a group or the official organization of midwives and nurses that this particular power or responsibility you are imposing upon them are beyond their competency. So I would like to appeal to you to consider this, because I know, I appreciate that you are taking care, or you are concerned of the 400,000 people who are, who suffer abortion, whether induced or whatever. But, we also have to protect them from people who they say that we cannot do that. See? So, okay, so that's, I still have questions, but
Yes, Your Honor.
I would
Mr. Chair.
rest my questioning now, and thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Can I respond to the last item, Your
Please,
Honor?
Madam
Yes.
Secretary.
Yes, Your Honor, Madam Chair. This policy has already been amended, but what is in that policy is that only those who were trained and are capable of providing the services will be allowed to use it, and not any nurse or midwife. So there's a corresponding training and there's a corresponding monitoring and evaluation of this strategy. And it has been amended. We do not impose on health providers if they feel that it is beyond their conscience and their religious beliefs to administer life-saving interventions, Your Honor, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. May the Chair recognize the Honorable Sandy Ocampo for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One of the most commendable programs of this administration,
Congressman Ocampo, before
Mr.
you
Chairman.
continue, belatedly, please allow the Chair recognize presence of Senator Lacson and Congressman Almario.
Please proceed, ma'am.
One of the most commendable programs of President Duterte is his support for health. It's all over. The fact that once you reach 60, you're automatically a PhilHealth member. This is something even America cannot even give its constituents. The kind of benefits that we give our senior citizens. It's quite a fact that coming into this new administration, we ended up hearing about the corporation being run in the red. And the explanation of the nominee for this position of Secretary of Health is that the contributions of LGUs are about 3 billion and the payout is at 17 billion. I can't believe that. Because people, when they get sick, seriously sick, as members of Congress, our constituents, they always come to us because they can't afford to pay their bills. And PhilHealth can only answer a certain amount, and even the reduced amount, they can't even find the money to pay for that. And therefore, judging from how this administration has been conducting itself, it's possible that there was a need to come in with a sharp knife and incisively take out the root or some problems or tumors that is besetting this organization. And therefore, Mr. Chairman, after reading the minutes of the board of the PhilHealth, we have to give the Secretary of Health some leeway and a benefit of the doubt in the decisions that were taken in replacing the president, who stands as a, is he an oppositor or not? I am not sure. Is he an oppositor? Are you an oppositor today?
Please respond, Dr. Dineros.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much, and thank you, Congresswoman. I'm here today just to refute the lie of Secretary Ubial that I resigned instead of being involuntarily ousted.
So you're not here as an oppositor, but just to clarify the position stated by Secretary Ubial. Okay, and that's clear. And regarding the not giving all the benefits to the employees, if COA comes out with an opinion that illegal or not acceptable within COA standards ang mga binigay na benepisyo, that's fine with me too, because we also know that a lot of government corporations were excessive in spending money or giving benefits to their employees. But I'm not here to defend Secretary Ubial. I just thought that after what has been written, what has been said, PhilHealth truly plays an important role in answering the cost of medical care for our constituents. So we should support, I think, well, not support Secretary Ubial on this, but just saying that there was a problem, still there are still problems in PhilHealth, and the position taken by the Secretary was an incisive knife to cut out the problem about the PhilHealth. Now, regarding the dengue, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to say that if there are 3 other experts that says otherwise on the position taken by the DOH Secretary, then they should come in front of us and tell us themselves. Be identified, and then let the doctors argue among themselves. And this is not in disrespect to my dear friend, who I admire, who I support in many instances, but just on a matter of fairness. And she enjoys the support of the President. She has the whole bureaucracy of DOH behind her. She has the division on the communicable disease behind her. She has all these legal people in the DOH that she probably consults with and helps in crafting decisions and resolutions. And Mr. Chairman, she's 29 years in the department, the only nominee of the president that has come from the ranks. That's all I wanted to say. I think she deserves our vote. I think she deserves our support, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman Bangko. Are there any other questions from the members?
Mr. Chair, sir,
Yes,
yes, sir.
Ms. Francisco, please.
I've been receiving texts from the employees from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And yes, I can say that I represent majority of the employees of PhilHealth. And we will submit the signatures in this opposition. We have it already and we can submit it, sir. And then we will also submit the chronology of events that you required us on the salad, ma'am. We find it really unacceptable for the board to decide on the suspension of the salad. According to Secretary Ubial, they were tricked, so we cannot understand. It's unacceptable to us, and we know they're intelligent and highly competent individuals, so we cannot accept the reason of the board that they were tricked when they decided for the suspension of the salaries.
Mr. Chairman,
The final arbiter is the court, and the disallowances are still on appeal. Sir, PhilHealth is a top performer. You cannot hear of any corruption among the employees, and there are no complaints from the members. Before Secretary Ubial came in PhilHealth, we were happy going to the office to serve the 100 million Filipinos, but it all changed. If her being Secretary of Health will make her chair of the board of PhilHealth, then we strongly oppose her confirmation as Secretary of Health. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Francisco. Senator, sir.
If no other questions from the others, may I be allowed just a follow-up on the point where, that was brought forth by Congresswoman Josephine Sato?
With permission of Congressman Ocampo, unless she
Mr.
has...
Chair, can I finish?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, since there was a rejoinder from Ms. Francisco, I think she should also help us understand why there was a co-decision regarding those allowances that were granted, additional allowances granted. And then, Mr. Chairman, regarding the, I don't know what to say, the induced and not induced, the spontaneous abortion, induced or by normal circumstances. Mr. Chairman, bata pa po ako. Alam ko yung procedure nung sila tinatawag nilang RASPA. Yan po yun yung pagka hindi natuloy, no? There are certain procedures that what is this? Not the nurse. What is it? The one that makes the madrona, kamadrona. Nasagot po. Sana tingnan po natin na neutral, na meron po talagang pagkukulang tayo sa mga kanayunan, no? Hindi po maramdaman ng mga tao yung presensya ng mga nurse o mga doktor. And that's why we have to end up using this kind of skilled people to help bring the service to those places that don't have nurses and doctors. But anyway, it seems like I'm defending the nominee, and it's clear that I am, no? So I'm gonna stop it now. And I will allow Senator Soto to continue his questions.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Congressman Ocampo. Senator Soto, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also on that point, tama-tama, binanggit na ni Sandy, the administrative order. They sought for a legal opinion on your administrative order, Madam Secretary. Who asked for the legal opinion?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, the group of nurses and midwives, Your Honor.
Correct. The nurses and midwives did not want to go beyond their law. The law that allowed them or gave them practice. And also they sought a legal opinion on the administrative order. And the legal opinion is very clear. Perhaps because of lack of time, Congresswoman Sato was not able to bring forward the legal opinion of the legal service of the Department of Health that says on the administrative order, Section V2 involves the performance of some level of post-abortion care, including two particular procedures, namely vacuum aspiration and manual vacuum aspiration by trained nurses and midwives as part of post-abortion care under the prevention or the PIMA. Okay, kaya tama yung sabi ni Secretary Ubial na dapat by trained nurses and midwives. Pero, sabi ng number 2 ng legal opinion, BA and MBA, yung vacuum aspiration and so forth, are generally considered as therapeutic procedure performed after a miscarriage or abortion, thus not within the ambit of nursing practice and midwifery conferred under Republic Act 9173 and 7392, yun sa midwives at saka sa mga nurses. Number 3, prescribing the practice of profession and its regulation are conferred by law and cannot be relegated to an administrative issuance. So, although it is the force and effect of a law, administrative issuances may not go beyond the provision of the law. O yung dalawang binanggit na batas. So, number 4, sabi nila, so far as it prescribes the practice of nursing and midwifery beyond the definitions of Republic Act 9173 and 7392, respectively, may be rendered invalid. So, ano po ang ginawa ninyo nung sinabi ng legal opinion po itong tungkol sa administrative order nyo?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Chair, the amendment is being reviewed and for inclusion, not to include midwives and nurses. But let me say this, Your Honor, that there are a lot of practices, for example, that we do not allow nurses. But in terms of life-saving situation, like if there's a cesarean section in Batanes and there's no anesthesiologist, we allow nurses to become nurse anesthetists under the supervision of a doctor. And this aspiration, manual aspiration, is really life-saving in areas where abortion and its complications are happening and there is no doctor.
Kayo na nga nagsabi, under supervision of the doctor. Wala dito sa administrative order ninyo. And then...
that's why it's being reviewed, Your Honor.
Being reviewed and anong nangyayari na? Yung review ninyo, itong legal opinion was December 29, 2016. Kung mag-review kayo, buwan-buwan. Ilang buwan? In the meantime, patuloy. So what we're seeing here is a blatant disregard of law. At sabi nga ni Congresswoman Sato, disrespect of not only the President, but disrespect of Congress. Dahil meron pang mga, hindi ba, yung batas na ginawa ng Kongreso ito eh. Pero, so you know, it boggles the mind that the nominee can ignore legal advice. Di ba? And she obviously did not like the legal advice, kaya i-review pa yung advice. No, it did not even attempt for a second or clarificatory opinion. It just refused the legal opinion. Ganun ang nangyayari. So, Mr. President, I believe that this blatant disregard for the law, cavalier attitude, buti na lang, hindi PMA about following the rules, this high-handed arrogation of power ang nakikita natin, which I clearly see. It reveals the true character of the appointee. Nakita natin yung iba pa eh. Ang dami pa nito, pero wala na tayong oras, Mr. President. I think that with the permission of everyone, batohan na lang natin ito para matapos na. Para, ang haba, ang dami talaga reklamo. Aabot hanggang sa 1 taon itong reklamo. Babasahin natin lahat eh. Napakahaba. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Soto.
Mr. Chairman,
Congressman Almario.
just a quick manifestation, Mr. Chairman. I've been asking around, from my district and from other places that I've been to, about their comments of Secretary Ubial. And one thing that always crops up is that Secretary Ubial lacks people skills. Hindi siya people smart, kulang siya sa listening to the people in the department. But this is outweighed by their appreciation also of the systems that Secretary Ubial has put in place. And the DOH 30 things to do, Secretary, you should know, is very much appreciated by your own people. Down to the lowest, is it the lowest? The mga barangay health stations, barangay health workers, and the management system that you have put in place, they say is very effective. The standardization of services, they appreciate that. So, throughout all these hearings, while we hear oppositions, and there are some points which we consider valid, I just would like to put that on the record that there are also a lot, and I would like to emphasize, as I said earlier, these positive comments, to my mind, outweigh the negative comments in favor of Secretary Ubial. That will be my short manifestation, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Almario.
Mr. Chairman, lang nakalimutan isang bagay
Senator Soto.
sa abortion pa rin. Yung binanggit ninyong 400,000 deaths, o baka ang ibig nyo sabihin 400,000 induced abortion. Because very alarming sa tao yung sabihin ninyo mayroong 400 deaths a year sa abortion.
Yes, I stand corrected, Your Honor. That is correct. There are 400,000 abortions, whether induced or spontaneous in this country.
So
Your
we
Honor,
did.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Soto. Thank you,
Mr.
Madam
Chair,
Secretary.
can I just give my short comment? I just want to ask the Secretary a straight question, that despite of all these things, now in oppositions, are you still willing to take the risk of being, confirmed or rejected? Please tell us, this committee, so that you'll, more or less, you can, you have that second opinion or say the thought of, say, accepting that. That's a straight question.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor, Mr. Chair. I know that there are a lot of opposition and manifestations that are before you about my not being capable and able to be Secretary of Health. But, Your Honor, I stand by my commitment to the President. He appointed me as Health Secretary, and whatever happens today, I will serve at the pleasure of the President, and I thank the members of the Commission on Appointments for this opportunity given me. Much as I wanted to be confirmed to serve the country and the Filipino people, I raise my intentions to your hands for your consideration. Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. If there are no more questions for the oppositors, the Chair would like to excuse Dr. Dineros and Ms. Francisco. Thank you for
Mr.
your
Chairman.
time and your patience.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And if there are no more further questions from the members of the committee for the nominee, Mr. Chair, Majority Leader.
I move to terminate the hearing on the ad interim appointment of Ms. Paulyn Jean Ubial as Secretary of the Department of Health and proceed with an executive session.
Any second? Any objection? Upon motion and duly seconded, there being no objection, the Committee on Health hereby terminates the hearing and deliberation of the ad interim appointment of Secretary Paulyn Ubial.
Mr. Chair, there being no matters, I move to adjourn.
Any objection? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned.
The members of the commission will repair to the other room. Members of the audience, please stay seated until commission members leave the room.
May hearing ka sa yung plenary kasi meron budget doon hearing. Kaya nandito sa
Sabihin ka namin.